The Chida, as a young man, heard something quoted in the names of the wise scholars of Castile in Spain, the Chachme Castilla, and he cites it in his book Pnei David. The Torah says that the land of Israel will be a great blessing. It'll be an eretz asher lo b'miskenus tochal balachem lo sechsar kol ba. It will be a land that you will not eat in poverty bread. Instead, you will lack nothing there. And they explained as follows: a very poor man may just eat bread because he has nothing else to eat. He doesn't have anything to dip it into. He doesn't have the hamburger to put inside the patty. He just eats bread to survive. The land of Israel is going to be described as the opposite of that, a blessed place, where you will not eat bread because you are impoverished, but rather lo techsar kol ba, you will not lack any flavor in that bread. Even the simple pieces of bread will have such blessing and such joy and such amazing tastes in them, even the simple things, that you won't need anything else. Lo sechsar kol ba, you won't need to dip that bread into hummus or margarine or anything else. You will have every taste you need in the bread. You know, it says, Kachi darka shel Torah. It says in Pirkei Avos, here's the way of the Torah. Pas ba melach tochal. You eat bread with just a little bit of salt. Umayim b'mesur tishta. You drink water in limited amounts, and you sleep on the floor. And if you do this, you'll be fortunate in this life. And you study Torah, of course, and you lay on the floor, devoted to the values and teachings of the Torah, v'Torah ata amel. If you do this, you'll be fortunate in this life, and certainly you'll be rewarded in the world to come. It'll be good for you in the world to come. That's what the Mishnah says. It sounds terrible. Who wants to sleep on the floor? Who wants to eat bread with maybe a little bit of salt and a limited amount of water? And I think according to this teaching of the wise men of Castile, we can understand a little bit different. A person who has the values and authentic ideals of the Torah will have a very unique perspective. They will taste much more in the bread that they eat. They will taste much more in the water that they drink. For that person, sleeping on the floor will bring them more joy than the wealthiest, most luxurious person will get from an empty, secular life filled with pleasures. The wealthiest, most successful people in the world that people read about in the magazines and desire to be like or be with, those people are consistently miserable when they don't have authentic, true things to live for. Even if they have all the physical pleasures in the world, they just don't have the happiness that comes from family, from community, from Torah values, and from truly living for the right reasons. And therefore, the land of Israel, a place where God's plan for how people should live, will truly be actualized, will truly be fulfilled, is going to be a land where a person could just eat bread and experience more pleasure from that simple piece of bread than anything else in the world. A good example of this might be a person who sits down for a meal with a sibling that they thought they would never see again, who was lost, who was imprisoned, who was in the clutches of the Soviet Union, and they're brought back together, and they sit down and eat. That meal, as simple as it be, will go down as one of the most joyous, enjoyable meals that they will ever have. The breath of fresh air that a person takes when they were drowning and they pulled themselves out of the water and took that deep breath of fresh air is going to be much greater than any bite of steak that they've had before. When the context is so clear, when the importance of what's happening is so powerful, then it changes the physical experience to be one that is so rich and so enjoyable. And therefore, the way of Torah is that even were a person to be sleeping on the floor and eating simplest of foods and drinking only water, if they're toiling in the Torah, they will find great joy in the experience of living in this world, and they will find deep meaning in what they've accomplished in this world, even when they leave it behind.